Ramblings from the Warp. I think episode.
Ramblins!
I think episode 33. I think
I don't
32,
think
33.
so.
Kyle will put it in the text for me, so
It'll be in
Kyle's
the
gonna
it'll
catch
be in
that.
the
Either
it'll be in the
it's 30
title.
something. It's 30 something. Thanks for joining us yet again. Welcome to Ramblings from the Warp, brought to you by Late Night Dice and all of our buffoonery. As always, me, Kyle Christian. Say hi to the folks.
What up, man?
Hi, folks.
So, I have a couple of topics today, and I don't like. I know one of them is going to be a great topic, and the other one, I'm hesitant to talk about it. I'll say that. So I'm going to start with the one I'm hesitant about.
I was
And
gonna say start with the negative.
Yeah, we're gonna start with the shitty base hit. We're gonna go from there, okay? You guys have been perusing online. You know, Kyle, I know you spend a lot of time on Reddit and some of the Discords, and Christian, I know you spend a lot of time just kind of perusing YouTube and stuff like that. I spend a lot of time looking at like Facebook and Reddit and stuff. And I'm noticing a couple of trends with some of the heresy posts. Now, I can't say if this is new or if this is old. I don't know if this is like old head heresy where they're like, back in my day we didn't have no damn bulkheads. Like I don't know if it's that energy or if it's this new kind of thing, but have you guys noticed we kind of turn into elitist pieces of shit?
I mean, I've been trying to tell you that I'm on the 40K side.
Like no, like let me explain. Let me explain where I'm coming from on this. Like so sometimes at work, I'm waiting for like things to happen at work, and I'll be sitting for 15, 20 minutes at a time, just kind of perusing. And I see guys making an honest effort. Like some guys that are trying to make escalation leagues or campaigns and things like that. And today I saw one that just really, I don't know if grinding my gears is enough of like, it really made my ass itch, right? So what happened was this guy was like, yeah, me and some friends are working on this campaign, and here's my packet. Tell me what you guys think. Now most packets, as you guys have seen, and everyone who's listening to this knows, like 90% of the game packets that you see, it's a Word document. And it's typed out very much like a Word document. Like it's kind of like, oh look, yay. And then like the standard default heresy attitude is like look at them, they're like, that's a lot of words. Shame I ain't reading them. And then it's
blah,
done.
blah, 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 blah,
Right?
blah, blah.
Yeah. So I saw this guy's packet and I'm like, okay, cool. This guy's got pictures in it and he's got a bunch of stuff in it to kind of like, and I wasn't really looking at that. I was focusing on the rules aspect of his campaign. And it was like, hey, you're trying to hold sections of a battlefield and each game is a section. And when you lose, you give that up. And if you win, you get points. And I'm like, this is kind of cool. And then I went to the comments because a lot of the times when people post mission packs like this, some guys will give really good information. Things like, hey, man, here's a cool thing to improve your packet. The first fucking answer to the question was, it has AI shit in it, so the rest of the package doesn't matter. Meh. I was like, wait, what is he talking about? So I went back and looked at the pictures that he added to the damn packet to make it not a clinical document. Were like some of the AI generated pictures, right? And so some of the AI generated pictures, as you guys have seen, like the armor is a little bit too smooth, or like the planes don't look quite right. Any AI photo you do for Warhammer, the armor's just not quite right. I think you guys have picked up on that too, right?
Yeah, people
Well,
are really picky when it comes to their models and how they should look when it comes to
yeah.
heresy.
So I go look at it, I'm like, yeah, they're AI. And then so I replied to the guy, and my reply, I'm pretty straightforward majority of the time. Like Kyle had some car trouble earlier today, and he's like, "Hey Gabe, what do you think?" I was like, "Ah, you're fucked." Like that's kind of how I do things. Like I'm very straightforward. And I saw this, and I was like, a lot of people are gonna read this. Let me see if I can articulate this in a way that doesn't come off as like default Gabe energy, right? So I said, "Hey, does it have some AI photos in it?" Yes. And are those photos maybe not heresy accurate? Also, yes. But the guy's trying to dress up his packet to grab attention, to keep you involved in reading the packet. And maybe he's also trying not to get hit with that fantastic copyright hammer that Games Workshop is swinging right now.
Yeah.
How about we focus on the gaming aspect of the document? Right, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? It's about the document. Now, and what's funny to me is if it was an AI picture of this guy and three of his chuckle fuck friends in power armor, like around a bonfire, they'd be like, "Oh, the greatest AI thing ever." But Homeboy puts a couple of pictures into a document, and he's public enemy number one. Let's go lynch this dude.
Yeah.
I hate it. Right. The other thing that I'm seeing is there's a lot of guys that are, and I can't say it's overwhelmingly negative, but it's always the same behavior from the same types of people. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some areas where I'm like 100% heresy is heresy. Like keep heresy heresy. I get it. Like if you show up and you're like, this is my gladiator and my lancer and my repulsor, but I'm treating it as rhinos, and be like, no, you're not. No, like you can get a rhino. It'll be okay. I'll burn on that bridge. I will, right? But if a guy shows up with an army, he goes, "Hey, these are my Marines, and I'm just testing out heresy. I want to get some reps in." Cool, man. I'm not gonna knock you for it. I'm not gonna knock you if you use AI pictures. I don't care. You know, I have seen just about everything I want to say that this game has to offer. Like I've seen quite a bit. I've seen a My Little Pony themed army where all the Space Marines had horse bodies. I've seen some weird shit.
Kind of the whole reason why I did my custodians the way I did them, because there was a lot of people that were like, it was really weird because they were like, we want our armies to be painted just like box art, what they had in the Heresy. And then they're on the other hand, they were like, we hate custodians because it's plain and basic. We hate ultramarines because it's plain and basic. So I was like, fuck it, I'll not do it plain and basic. And they're like, ooh, you're ruining my immersion. I'm like, okay. And not a lot of people are like that. I'm not gonna say the whole community is like that, but there are people like that.
I
It's
guess what I wanted to cover was basically like, do y'all want more people to play the game or not?
do y'all want friends?
Like, don't get me wrong, man. I understand the allure of like knowing that when you go somewhere, it's like a reunion with all your boys and your friends. That's great. But if you never want a new person to join the game, keep acting like this shit, right? I just had to get that out there because it's been nagging at me, dude. It's like we've really got to find a way to bridge that gap between where we were and where we are. Because I think a part of it is also like a lot of us are stuck in our ways. I'm one of them. I get it. I'm one of the guys that we complain about in second edition, real get off my lawn shit, right? Sometimes I have the energy. I know what I'm about and I try to curb it. I just think we have to focus more on the idea of people are trying to play the game now. There's a lot more attention than we've had before. And so I need you guys to understand that you can't have your cake and eat it too. We can't say heresy is amazing because it's heresy and then turn around and say, man, all these new people are ruining my game. It's still heresy.
Heresy's so amazing because it's so narrative. Here's my three Kratos.
I'm just saying, like we've really gotta do better. And I know it's not everybody. And trust me, I'm sure that for every negative person out there, there's like five positives. I'm not at all saying that. What I'm saying is the overwhelming trend of what gets traction is that elitist mindset. And so and I like the only reason I'm as gung ho about this as I am right now, the only reason that I'm really adamant about this, I checked that thread right before I hopped in this chat, and I'm still the only person that called that piece of shit out.
Was it on Reddit?
Dude, it was on Facebook.
Oh. Wow. Big
And
surprise.
the problem is like normally on Facebook, like that place is a fucking cesspool of like, meh, 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 meh. Nah, dude, like nobody was calling this dude out. And that bothers me. It bothers me because we should be better. We should be inclusive. We should be getting more people into the game. Don't get me wrong. If a guy shows up and he's got, a lot of really off the wall craziness, a lot of proxying, a lot of crazy stuff like that, where it's just, you can tell the guy's just trying to play a whack kind of style, by all means, man, like curb that. But if people are trying to do something to grow your game and get more people into your game, and you're always going to focus on the negative, I'm not going to enjoy that. And no one should enjoy that. So that was my one thing I had to get out of the way because that's been gnawing at me, dude. Like I keep seeing it and it's been gnawing at me. Uh, but now on to my actual topic, my good, happy, I want to talk about this topic, okay? So at first, I'm going to ask this question and I want you guys to both answer it. So I want to know who wants to answer first.
Y'all got it.
Way to hop in there, Christian. All right, Kyle. So you're first on the block.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
This is a 3-part question, so I'm going to ask the first part first. What is something that you thought or we thought early on was going to be very impactful in 3rd edition that's turned out to not be as heavily impactful as we thought it was going to be? To you, like that you feel that about.
So, as far as like rules or units,
Really anything like because a small example for me, I really thought that command units were going to be a little bit more impactful than they are, and they're not.
Hmm.
Like one of the things I was honestly worried about early on is I was just like, man, with these rules, I'm gonna spend half this game in fucking duels, and that hasn't been the case.
yeah, I was
You-
going to say challenges. Like, not everybody can challenge now or accept a challenge. And so I thought it would be super okay. This is going to be really bad to point out, but I thought it was going to be super like complicated. Like, oh man, I really got to be decisive on what I want to choose for a gambit, or I got to make sure I get my roll, my focus roll, and make sure all my stuff adds up. It's like, you find out what the basic add-ons are for your focus roll, and then you choose one of 2 different gambits, and that's really all you do. And
okay,
you just keep re-rolling and re-rolling and re-rolling and re-rolling until either you get the shit slapped out of you, or you're hitting each other with Nerf bats. Is how I feel. But as far as like a unit that disappointed me after like reading it and being like, oh, that's super exciting. These Castellax Automata for Thousand Suns. On paper, man, Asphyx Bolt Cannon, 4 shots, rending 4+. Rending means it automatically hits if you roll a 4+, which is great because their ballistic skill is
automatically
3.
wounds, not hits. Fix,
That's what I
fix,
meant,
fix.
wounds. Sorry. But the ballistic skill is a 3. So if you hit, then you wounded, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that sounds great. And, a key of Force Claws, man, AP 3, 2 damage, breaching 5+. Fuck yeah. No, no, they get immediately deleted and they don't do shit. Like I've played them in 2 different games, and they got shot off the board by a fucking dreadnought, and then they got meleeed off the board by a fucking rampager squad.
Was the
They don't
list
do
that I
shit.
built for Lance?
Yes, fuck that list. That's what I'm talking about. Like I was like, this is gonna be great. He's like, I'm gonna come after those Castellax. I'm like, bring it. They're with the librarian. Let's do this. And the librarian's like, I'm gonna die. And then he did. And then so did the fucking I mean, it was just I took him out of my list. They let me down. It looks like it has all this cool stuff, and it really doesn't.
Right, Christian, what was your underwhelming feeling?
Um, this is going to be a hot take because once I say this, Gabe's gonna be like, "Hold on, not all of them, but some of them."
I'm gonna
And
start
then,
I'm just gonna start calling you Hot Take McGee. Every
yeah,
episode you got a hot take.
it's because I don't think Inducti are good.
We determined that. We said,
Yeah,
Just
but
I knew Gabe's gonna go.
ah,
I
dude,
can't say that. Some of them are good. There's like three of
no,
them that I would.
no. The thing is I think part of it is like we really did hype them. We hyped the
Exactly.
shit out of Inducted because they read great,
Hmm.
and then one Havoc launcher happened, and then I was like, never mind, it's a trap. These bitches got the confidence of
So
3-year-olds in a sandbox, bro. They're just drowning in dirt.
so Inducti are cheap, and they're cheap for a reason. What I've noticed in all of my games is we were right online. I think everyone was right online too. And where you get that is your tacticals and your um the spoilers. Now, that being said, you push those forward, you score your points, and then they die, folks. If target priority is not right and they shoot you with another tactical marine or something else and you get return fire, you just got more value out of it. Now, where Inducti fall under that is most of them don't have that juicy line too. They don't have the firepower to do what your tacticals could do. You upgrade them to do what tacticals can do with like shotguns and stuff like that, then you end up overpaying so that where they were cheap and good, they are now cheap or not cheap anymore. So I think Inducti, we talked them up a bunch. I thought Inducti were going to be so good. Some of their rules are amazing. They just they don't perform well. They go out,
So
die, and that's all they did.
on the topic of Inducti, I think that there's still some units in the Inducti world that aren't bad. Like I still think that the Death Guard squad is great, and I
Mhm.
still think that the Iron Warriors Inducti are great.
Mhm.
What I feel myself balancing against is when it comes to the Inducti, the concept of the squads is very, very cool. But at the end of the day, with those guys being line one instead of line two, or not being line at all,
Yep.
comparatively to the cost of a tactical squad that's going to give me line two, or a despoiler squad that's going to give me line two, the the potential for runaway point scoring early turns off my desire to use Inducti generally at all. Because one of the things I'm noticing in this edition is once you're behind in points, you stay behind in points. It takes a lot to dig yourself out of that hole. And you can't do it with line one units. At least not very easily. You've really got to the things really have to go in your favor. You know, some objectives have to be worth multiple points and you scoring them and your opponent's not scoring at all. It's hard to close that gap once it gets there.
Yeah, when I also say Inducti, you also gotta know this is coming from me just using the World Eaters, Iron Warriors, looking at the Alpha Legion one. Yes, I've only looked at a select few and I haven't tried the good ones out, but I still stand by it. I think 75% of them are not that great.
I heard you making a noise earlier. Were you going to chime in on this?
Well, I'm just looking at my inductee for Thousand Suns. They they kind of have their own little psychic ability that says that if they pass the manifestation check, they get breaching 6+ on their bolters. balanced out by the line 1, granted. But
And that's
AP2 bolters is pretty funny.
yeah, but at the end of the day, like I'm saying, like it doesn't matter if you're already behind on points. The points have become so important, which isn't necessarily bad, but it pigeonholes other units.
Now,
Also,
this is a question. Oh, that's rending 6 anyway.
do you get Fury of the Legion with Inducti?
The Death Guard ones you do.
That's what I'm getting to. Do you get Fury of the Legion?
Yeah.
And that's one thing people are not picking up on some of them. People are forgetting about Fury of the Legion and that on tactical squads and how much that actually puts out when weight of dice. That's been working perfectly for Iron Wars for me, and that's something you don't get with, I believe, with Inducti.
Not for a good portion of them, no. Typically,
Mhm.
that's isolated only to the Death Guard ones are the only ones that maintain Fury. Uh, but yeah, I can agree with you there. They weren't as heavy impact as I thought they were going to be. But, dude, mine, honestly, Meltaguns.
Yeah.
I thought that like on paper, Meltaguns look like nightmare fuel. And then you start using them and you're like, these guns suck. They can't kill tanks. They can only glance half of them. Good luck killing a Kratos or a Land Raider. And then even if I shoot, Terminators with them, they'll pass an invul. And then if they don't fail the invul, then most of them have Eternal Warrior or they have some crap that reduces the melta damage. It's like, dude, like it
What's the
yeah.
profile on a Meltagun?
If I remember correctly, they are Strength 8,
I got you.
AP2,
I got
and
you, fam.
Damage 3.
Yep, range 12, strength 8, AP2, damage 3, melta 6.
Now
Haha,
Melta
Gabe still got them notes.
now Melta only works on vehicle, yeah?
Right, it
Doesn't
turns
work on
glances into
anything else?
pins.
Well,
That's
No,
Armor Bane.
yeah,
well,
it
no,
just
so
gives it armor bane.
no. Melta doesn't do that. So Melta, if you're in that, so if you see it's like Melta 6, if you're within that 6 inches, the damage is basically doubled against
Oh, yeah, you see that.
vehicles,
Is it
Yeah.
right?
only vehicles?
Only vehicles, not
Okay.
dreadnoughts. That's why
That's
they're
what I was
not
gonna get.
good. That's why they're not
That's
good.
well,
Um,
that's the one thing of I think Meltas have a place, but it's to kill dreadnoughts, but no one takes dreadnoughts.
well, the other
Fucking no
problem is
one.
like, like the thing about it is like I look at Melta and I'm like, they read so good and they work so badly.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
you look at it like almost everybody's like, oh yeah, man, damage 3. If I'm in the 6 inches, it goes to damage 6 against a tank, and that's awesome. Like, cool, they're strength 8. So if you're running up on the front armor of a rhino,
Yeah, to hit 6s.
no, you've got to hit 4s to glance, and you've got to get 5s or 6s to get the melta damage. Because if you roll the 4, all you're gonna do is a
Oh, it's
glancing hit, and
12.
you're gonna put a
Sorry.
status,
I thought it was
right?
14.
No, you're gonna put it. You're gonna put a status on it, right? A 5 or 6 will penetrate in, and then it'll do the damage. Okay, great. You can possibly kill a tank if you roll hot, right?
Well,
But if
so
but if
go for it. My bad.
but if I take something like, and I guess this is my other problem, right? Is just down the road, I can take a laser destroyer rapier battery and reliably get 3 damage per gun at strength 10. That's giving me the same performance as that melt again against land raiders. It has armor bane, so now I'm penetrating on a 4, 5, or 6, and I'm doing the 3 damage, right? And I can put that on a rapier battery crew that I think the base cost for a rapier battery with a laser destroyer is like 65 points per battery. They've got a further range. They're tougher. They'll do something for me. I don't have to like cram them into a suicide squad and like run them up on a tank. So I feel like my problem with Meltaguns is though they are good on paper and they can do some stuff. They're good at killing Terminators. They're good at killing some stuff like that. Just the number of things in the game that can mitigate their damage just bugs me. It kind of writes them off.
I feel like mass melt was what helped us at TXO because there was a lot of Terminators there. Like I said, I think every gun has its niche on what it should go against, but you're also right. There are guns in the game that you're just like, I will take this, and it locks down the whole field. Yeah, I would say melted guns are kind of in a bad spot. But then again, I'm also the person that on our other take, I'll be like, oh, what is good? What is really good? That was bad. It kind of counters my topic on that.
So, next part of this question. Kyle, what'd you sleep on early in the edition and now you're like, dude, that's gross? Actually, no, wait, no. You had to answer this first. Let's start. Christian.
He slept on this conversation, Gabe. That's what he slept on.
This hoe ass right here. So, what did you sleep on early that you're like now like that's great?
So this goes back to what we were just talking about, dreadnoughts. I am really liking dreadnoughts. No one's taking them really. If you are taking them out there, that's cool. I'm on the back end of it, but what I've been taking in all of my lists are contemptor dreadnoughts. Not anything else but contemptor dreadnoughts. That I think is the, how would you say, toolbox of this edition. They fit in any army, and they could do whatever you need for that army, whatever you're missing. In Iron Warriors, they're my punchy robots. I don't need shooting in Iron Warriors. World Eaters is kind of different. I could use them at shooting, but I've also been loving Double Fist and also getting gravitons on them. And in an Alpha Legion test list, they're just my long range conversion beamer, just shooting dreadnoughts. They're so good, so versatile, and they're cheap and easy to unlock.
Okay, Kyle.
I haven't played with them yet, but I think it's going to be those rapier batteries.
So, I was talking to our buddy Duncan about this, and I agree with his synopsis on rapier batteries to a degree that I think it is going to be an issue. Duncan and I think that rapier batteries are so good that they're going to become a crutch.
Do you think they'll get gentleman agreement out like Las Cannons did in 2.0?
No, and even if they did, I never agreed to that. Like, if you can't write a list that's competitive to a degree, or you can't write a list that doesn't solve some problems, you can always have people help you with that. I never understood the gentleman's agreement of if you take more than 10 las cannons, you're a shitty person. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't take the 20 las cannons, but you took the 4 dreadnoughts as though that was a great compromise. Like, yeah, like I never agreed to the gentleman's agreement thing because there's always another like ah ha ha moment. That's like at the second Alamo GT that we went to, or the third. One of the guys brought a night list that had like 10 armigers in it, and I was like, so if I bring 2 dreadnoughts, I'm a piece of shit, but these 7 armigers are just cool.
So I just don't think the gentleman agreement topic works the same way as it did in the past. As in, like, not saying, oh, this is all we agree on. No, like, this edition made it to where there isn't no cookie cutter list yet. And I don't think there will be, because how you have to unlock detachments, what your Legion does for you with special detachments, you only had so many slots you could fill. in that heavy slot, you only had so many you could take, and it was just like, yep, best las cannons, las cannons. That I don't think that works in this edition. And yes, if you can't come up with a list that I feel like every list is rock, paper, scissors with this edition. You don't know what you're going to face on the other side. I brought a whole bunch of vehicles. There was a whole bunch of Terminators that just outscored me and held stuff. Yeah, I don't think that works for this edition like it did last edition. I don't think there should be any gentleman agreements on something that is too strong. There is no just end all be all good list that someone can make and it's going to go 100% and win every tournament or every narrative event.
I think the other issue I have with like the gentleman's agreement versus like being a crutch, right? So the reason why I feel the way I do about the rapiers, and the reason I agree with Duncan's synopsis that they're kind of going to be a more of a hindrance than anything else, is they are going to be the las cannons of 2.0. Are you having a dreadnought problem? Rapiers. Are you having a tank problem? Rapiers. Do you want to kill a bunch of infantry? Cool. Rapiers with phosphex grenades. Hey, are you having trouble with, with Terminators or something like that? Cool. Rapiers with las cannons. Oh, you're trying to get rid of like mass like breachers or something like that. Cool. Here's graviton rapiers. I think they're going to end up being that crutch where you don't know how to be creative with your lists, so you fall back on what you know will work. I don't think that the whole gentleman's agreement thing is going to happen just because there's too many answers to problems this edition. Like the whole meltagun thing. Like, oh, meltaguns, in my opinion, meltaguns aren't very good in practical use. They're great on paper, but they're not great in practical use. And then it's kind of like that one time you don't have your insurance in the car and you get pulled over. It's like, oh, you didn't bring any meltaguns? Well, here's my 30 Terminators. Like Christian was talking about. It's like, well, shit.
Shit, yeah.
You kind of feel like that. What was that terrible remake of uh the stupid movie about Lost in Space, when all the bugs are there and he's like, I got like $30 million worth of ammo and guns and what I'd give for a can of Raid, right? That applies. And I think the problem with rapier batteries is they are good and they're going to keep being good, um, mainly because of point cost and the detachments you can take to unlock them is why they're going to become a crutch.
um Also, one other thing on that, I think, and a lot of people are getting that there's a lot of units like that rapier ones. I know you talked to them that they're going to be a crush in people, but we're seeing the same things with Vindicators. You know, we're seeing the
Mhm.
same thing with Predators. These are 3 units that I think kind of do the same thing. Um, Now I'm not saying rapiers are better. They could fire back, they could use reactions, they could hold objectives and stuff like that. But there's a lot of these units that kind of do the same thing that people are just throwing them in their lists because they're easy to unlock depending on what detachments you have and your special detachments. Which I honestly do think we should just go over special attachments and people using their prime slots correctly. Or just using them in general. Don't forget those.
You know, for me, what I slept on, that now I'm like, bro, they're too good not to take. For me, dude, I'm gonna find a way to put auger command squads and everything.
Yeah, shout out to Seth saying that he wants you to find a reason why to use a auger command squad.
Okay, I know the reason not to use them. I could say that out. And it's because GW doesn't have the freaking models to build them like correctly. But that's about
No,
it.
technically speaking, and they talked about it. Technically speaking, the Rapier battery gunner crews are an auger command squad, and they nail that, right? But I agree with you in the sense of like bitch, y'all need to pick which side of the road y'all want to be on. Either you don't want me doing stuff or whatever.
What unit did you just say they came in?
Yeah,
Rapiers.
yeah, yeah. I'm aware.
You're gonna build this and be like, damn, this Augury command squad could have been a rapier. Yeah, never mind. Job done.
And what about
So,
a command rhino, Gabe?
well, I don't dislike the command rhino, and I'm gonna have one in one of my armies. They're not bad. I actually like the command rhinos. What is weird about the command rhinos are the way their soft stats work and the way you do the checks with them to do all the stuff. And I think what really has me kind of the most like meh about the command rhino, and this is something that almost no one has picked up on, right? So um how do we use Nunkio boxes? Nunkio boxes say that you are allowed to take a check to remove the effects on a squad, and you can do it in the start phase rather than the end phase. And you can do this for each command unit you have on the field. Okay. It's very important to point out that a Damocles command rhino is neither a command unit nor can it be used for um, Vox stuff. It doesn't have the command keyword. It is in the command category, but it is not a command model, which means that's one less model you can do a Nunkio Vox test with.
Kind of like the same thing when I fucked up in the beginning of the edition that a model with Paragon Blade and Paragon of Battle is a Paragon model.
Yeah, so when you look at it, a Nunkio Vox, flat out, it tells you that you can only take that test for command models. Okay, so if I take that command rhino, that's one less chance I have to shunt one of those statuses if I've suffered one. The second problem with the command rhino is that any tests you make for it are done at a characteristic of 8. Not horrible, not amazing, just a stitch over middle of the road, right? But they're like, hey, but if you shove a model in there, you can use that model soft stats. Okay, well then why didn't I just take that fucking model? You look at a Damocles Rhino and they're like, oh yeah, Command Rhino, it can do all this cool stuff. It has a command Vox relay. So does a Master of Signal. And the Master of Signal does it for 5 points cheaper.
And it unlocks you a badass detachment.
Yeah, and it gives you a good detachment. And it's a command model. That's important. So though the Damocles Rhino isn't bad, I feel like it's a novelty for me. But the Augur command and control squads, though they are not a command, they're a retinue. Being able to essentially reduce the cost of a reaction once per turn, it gives you a level of tactical flexibility that a lot of other units and other armies can't utilize. It opens doors, is what it really does. Is it gives you a chance to be a little bit more flexible. Now, is that going to apply to everybody? No. I have said for years I play in a very weird way that a lot of people haven't ever really grasped. I play very fluid when I play. It's kind of weird. And that Augur Command and Control Squad really helps me do that. So I was sleeping on those guys early. I was like, yeah, an extra reaction. What does that matter? And now I'm like, I need my reactions.
Yeah, everyone that feels reaction starved, that's a good way to get some of that back.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I did call that before I even played my first game. Is I feel like I'm personally going to be reaction starved.
Hey, well, there you go, man. Get you like 9 auger command squads.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how many auger command squads is it gonna take to make you feel like you did in 2.0?
Well, the only reason I say that is because a lot of my psychic abilities that I pay points for that I want to use because it's my shtick are a reaction point.
No, part of them is a reaction point.
A lot of them.
No, part of them, not the whole thing.
You
That's
get stuff
probably
for
like
free now.
there's some stuff that you get for free for taking those, and then they give you the option to have this reaction, which after having played against them in TXO, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Y'all can be reaction starved. Because if I have to try and kill
Mm-hmm.
one more unit of fucking Terminators that are on Biomancy, Toughness 7 with a 2 up, 4 up, 5 up, feel no pain. Like, no, I don't want to fight that twice. That was annoying as hell.
I rolled this to get a 3 up shroud. I failed it. Oh fuck yeah! So you don't get that 3 up. It's okay. They just because I know this college school of magic. I know people are gonna get pissed that I said that, but I still get a 4 up shroud just for having it, just for knowing it.
They still went to UT.
It's a 5 up. It's a 5 up in Vuln, not a shroud.
No, there's some of them that have a.
There's another one that throws you a shroud. I've
There's
seen it.
one that
No,
gives you.
you get the kind shield, but our advanced reaction is if I pass it, it's a 3 up in
That's
Vuln.
not
If
what
I
I'm
fail
talking
it, it's a
about.
5 up in
That's not
Vuln.
what I'm
No,
talking
no,
about.
no. We're talking about the stacking of the psychic powers. Like they really did make an unkillable like Terminator squad. I was like, so those guys are T7. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, with a 2 up, 4 up, and then a 5 up shroud. He's like, yeah, but I passed this test, so it's lower. I'm like, whatever, man. Give me 4 of them. That's what I was immediately like. Everything gets augury scanners. I don't give a shit what it is. Everything gets an augury scanner. Hey, gay, one of those scouts with shotguns, but they have augury scanners.
That's the one thing I think that we didn't see was going to be amazing. That after a couple games of dealing with some stuff, we're like augury scanners, not searchlights, because searchlights only reduce it by 1. Augury scanners just says no. Fuck your shroud.
Yeah, Shroud definitely had a heavier impact than I was giving it credit for. I'll go that far. Um, last part to my question, and Christian, I'm going to pose this to you first as well. Is there a unit that you want to be good and you just haven't figured out how to get it there yet?
Moritats.
A unit that I want to be good. Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay. Unit that I want to be good, and this is gonna go out to multiple. I want Primarchs to be good. I want Primarchs and to feel strong, and I want their points to reflect it. I don't think their points do them justice on how bad of a point sink they are. Cool models. With the challenge rules, man, I've had some cool challenges of Primarchs on Primarchs or Primarchs versus other cool special units that just slogged out into fights. But yeah, I wish Primarchs were better. I think there's probably only 3 of them that I would take. Maybe just 2. There's probably 2 of them I would take and be like, yeah, these are good models for the points and for what they do. But I think Primarchs are bad still. And I was hoping they were good.
Kyle, what about you?
This Prospering Sorcerer. It's very close. He's not a full librarian. He's just a sorcerer. So he's got biomancy, I think. So he's got
Well, don't you pick their school?
no. This guy you can't do it. He doesn't
Okay.
have it because he's just a sorcerer. He doesn't have biomancy. He has a biomantic slam, which is the AP2 2 damage armor bane psychic weapon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's cool. He's got immovable force, which is the psychic pinning attack, ranged attack. He's got the wildfire, which is the psychic panic attack. Really cool. That was blast 5-inch. Like that's cool. He's got a Prosper Inspire stave, which is the only one that has. He's the only person I've seen with it. AP3, 1 damage, 4, so it can be doubled to 2 damage. And it has this cool rule called Conduit, which if I use this weapon as a ranged weapon, it gets +1 to the strength modifier. Oh, I guess it gets because it's ranged melee. It gets +1 to the melee to the strength modifier for melee because it's conduit. But he gets wiped off the board very easily. And I gave him
Oh, sorry, go for it.
I gave him Paragon of Battle to try and make him like a little bit better, which he is. But he's still, I don't know. He's got a mixing, a spicing of the psychics, but it's not cohesive, if that makes any sense. Or maybe I just don't know how to run it because I'm a dumbass.
Isn't that the whole stick of some of the Thousand Suns? Aren't they like kind of glass cannon though?
Yeah, kinda. I know that a lot of it is finding the tool set to put around them.
Hmm.
That's what I'm finding about this edition that's kind of important is most individual command models on their own are mid, but when you put them with something, they become excellent. You just
So
gotta find the pieces that work with them.
so I pulled this up as I was talking about it because I didn't want to get wrong with what I was saying. Now I'm even more confused. I'm looking at his profile, and it says melee weapon, Prosper Inspire stave, initiative modifier +1, attack modifier A, strength modifier S, AP3, damage 1, special rules, force D, conduit. But then it says traits, ranged, psychic.
That's just
What
the
is
type of
ranged?
attack it is.
How is it a melee attack ranged? A melee weapon ranged trait.
You got me on that one, man.
That might be a new recruit problem. Where's my book? Oh. Anyway, we can move on. I just saw that. And I was like, how's a melee weapon ranged?
I'd have to read that one. That one's kind of strange. I'd have to read that one, but like I said, there's some model like for me personally, the model that I'm or the unit that I'm like, man, I want to find a way to make these guys good, and I haven't figured it out yet. Dude, I really want to make Saturnine work,
Make them work.
When you
and I
say
haven't.
Saturnine, are we talking Terminators? Are we talking Dreads? Are we talking the Preacher?
I'm talking Saturnine Terminators in general. I haven't quite found a way to make them work the way I want to make them work. 'Cause there is such a thing as like, yeah, just park a Primarch with them and walk them up the field. Yeah, that's a valid strategy. But I want to try to find a way to make them work on their own, like as like a facet in my army. And they're just so mid at everything except survival. Survivability wise, they're tough as nails, man. They're great. But I'm just not blown away by their melee profiles. I'm not blown away by their range profiles.
So you just also said one thing that goes back to mine. What I said, I wish Primarchs are good. That's also another thing too. Most of the squads that you get to unlock in their detachment that you could take them with are expensive as fuck.
Then
You
it becomes
usually
Death Star.
of
Well, no,
what?
like, well, it's like he's not wrong. I mean, because when you look at the cost of like a Saturnine unit, they're just so expensive. And it's like, oh, you want to take a Saturnine Praetor? Like, cool. I hope you got 300 points laying around. Like,
and
it's a lot, man.
and then usually if you don't take a Spartan to put them in, they're just kind of walking up the field. They touch one speed bump and are like, yeah, we murdered that tack squad. Like it's a competent player. They put something in front of you as a robot. Yeah, we hit that rhino, but we still
Sa-
didn't even make it halfway across the field.
Saturnines remind me. There's this. I don't know if it was a movie or a skit. I keep seeing it pop up on TikTok where there's like a riot going on. And this guy's trying to return an air fryer, and there's this lady with this Karen with a knife who's like, "I'd rather kill you than let you steal that air fryer." And he's like, "I'm just trying to return it." And she's like, "No," and she like follows him around all day. Like every time he goes down the street, he'll cross street, whatever. She pops him up on. She's on a little scooter with a knife. That's Saturnines, bro. They're slow. You can kite them the whole game. You can just kite them, and you're just never gonna actually get to them, man. But if they do touch you, they're not gonna murder you. They're just gonna sit there with you because they're tough. T6, 3 wounds, 2 up, 4 up. Like they'll tie up something, but I'm not blown away by them. To buy 3 of them, it's 200 points. And that's just bare bones with like a fist and a plasma. If you want to give them like twin disintegrators or something else, like they start getting very expensive very fast. And like I said, I want to make them work because they're really cool models, and I've always liked the Saturnine aesthetic. I'm one of the guys who likes the captain shoulders fit. But when I'm paying 420 points for a 5-man Saturnine Terminator squad, I know there's some guy at Games Workshop who's like whispering in my ear, be like, "That's the same cost as a Kratos," and you're like, "Damn, it is, isn't it?"
Mm.
The, also, there's someone out there who's like, yeah, but if you build a list that's just gonna stay on the field and just score you the points of just having more units than your opponent at the end of the game, probably still not gonna happen because they're still gonna have more units for your cost of that one unit.
Yeah, it's like, and I guess this is where like my own little tism kind of kicks in. Is everyone's like, "Oh yeah, man, you can get just 5 Saturnines with twin disintegrators. It's like 420 points. Like they're super gross." And then out of nowhere, in the back of my mind, I hear like, "Man, that's like 45 tactical marines."
Yeah, yep. Well, and also in this edition, we are no longer thinking of what we already have unlocked. It's also getting to unlock those units. What do you usually have to take to unlock said spot? Probably just a Centurion. So there's another, what, 80, 90 points on there, depending on how you get them out. Then,
Bro, I can get my
oh,
40 tactical marines out of the base detachment.
yeah,
Like
actually,
this is
yeah.
yeah, this is my problem. Is like this is what's wrong with Gabe's lizard brain, right? When I start building lists, it's like, yeah, Terminator's awesome. Ugh, 420 points. You know how many bolt guns that is? I turn into my mom. I'm like, nah, we got cookies at home. And it's horrible because I'm just like, man, I really could use anything else but this. And then I'm like, no, but I really want these to work. I really want them to work. But then we start getting into the argument you're talking about, which is just like, okay, well, are you going to win last man standing when you're sacrificing 4 units for one? Are you going to catch up on scoring when you're sacrificing 4 scoring units for one? Uh, because they don't have anything. They don't have line. They don't have Vanguard. They don't have any of it. They might explode.
That's one thing that they have that a lot of people don't have.
You know, they might explode, but beyond that, it's like, yeah. So it's kind of strange, man. Like I like Saturnines. They're not bad, but they're also not blowing me away. And I'm trying to find a way to make them fit. That's yeah. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, some people I played I think 2 games now against Saturnine, and they're scary at first. Like you said, they have staying power. Everything we said in the beginning, they're scary at first. And then I realized I'm like, oh shit, but I'm up by 10 points. And they're not gonna sit on an objective. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, and like what's super funny to me is like you look at other units in your army and you're like, oh yeah, man, they're 2 up, 4 ups. And I'm like, they are. I'm not calling them bad, but just for shits and giggles. Cataphractes have the same invul, and they do
I
it
love cataphracties. Yep.
like and I can take 5 of those for 150.
Wait, combi bolters.
Yeah, with well, actually, they come stock with Volkite chargers now, but you can swap them for
I
combi
always
bolters
swap
for
them for the
free.
combi bolters. I love combi bolters right now.
But I'm sitting here looking at it. I'm like, dude, I can get 3 units of Cataphractes for the cost of 1 Saturnine. And those Cataphractes are gonna have staying power too. You know, are they necessarily fast? I don't know. They're speed 6 versus a Saturnine speed 5, so they're a little bit faster. I'm gonna avoid making the 1 inch matters, but it does. And they have better weapon loadouts. They can definitely take better close combat options. So that's what I mean. Is like I'm having trouble making Saturnines work, and I want to because they're really cool. I'm one of those guys that like I said, I like the Saturnine aesthetic. I like the old derpy super shoulder crazy Saturnines. I loved them. So yeah,
You,
that's my hill.
but another thing I think a lot of people are sleeping on, that they just haven't caught yet, and this goes back to like a rules thing that Kyle was saying, like rule or unit type thing, not having a keyword. And you're gonna be like, what? We're talking about Terminators here. Not having support 1, not having Vanguard. You have some that have line, but like Alpha Leader, that's different. That's a different thing. Like having line, yes, that's always good. But not having those other ones in your unit of Terminators or
That's
Dreadnought,
yeah.
it is so good.
No, you just brought me back to that whole what do I wish was good? I totally forgot about the Kennetai Cult.
They are
Man, I
good.
wish they were good.
They are good. You're
They are good.
crazy.
You every now and again, like you get bent out of shape by a unit, and you're like, man, I wish the squad was good. They are good. If you like, we could just sit and roll dice about what those do to squads all day long. I like Kennetai Cult. They
I
are the
like them.
thousands.
I do. But guess what they're missing?
Oh, boo-hoo.
Any kind of keyword.
They don't need it. That's the point.
They
That's
don't
what makes them good.
that's what makes them
So
good.
when you look at like okay, so like Terminators, Cataphractic Terminators have Vanguard 3. Man, I hate Vanguard like the day is long. Vanguard's terrible. There's
I'm trying to find a way, Gabe. You already know my thought process on how I'm trying to make these 2 bad rules good, but taking some work.
Yeah, it's like the only way I see Vanguard working is if you can have a unit that's willing to be Joe from the Family Guy episode when they're kids, where they're like, train, and he gets run over, and they're like, another train. That's the only way Vanguard works, dude. Okay. What I think makes Kinetai so good is if you have something like a Master Signal that can flex them into line or flex them into Vanguard when the timing is appropriate. Kinetai are amazing. Even on their own, since they don't have those words, meaning if they get on an objective, they'll get full points for the objective. They're great. What makes Vanguard so terrible is no matter what, if you're on an objective, you score 1 point. That's it. That's your life. You get one. Kinetai
Think
will
about
get the
mission 3. Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
for
The
it.
Kinetai will get you whatever the value of that point is, and they'll do it regardless of what's happening. And what's really funny is I've watched people who are like, "Oh yeah, there's a unit of Kinetai on objective. I'm gonna charge them and score Vanguard," and I'm like, "The fuck you will." Those Kinetai are murderous, man. They're actually really strong in close combat. If I had to say that the Kinetai had a weakness, if there was one to be had, it's limitations to the expansion of their war gear. Right. They come with the swords. They get the swords. That's what they get. That's not, and their swords are really strong. They're really good. And they're not very expensive. I think a 10-man squad runs you what, like 265?
10-man squad is 265.
Yeah, and you get what? +1 attack with those swords, +1 strength with the swords, base AP3. I'm pretty sure they're breaching 5 or 6 plus.
5 plus.
Breaching 5 plus. So that's 4 attacks per dude at weapon skill 5. Get the fuck out of here. That's a great unit. Like I said, if I had to say that there was a weakness to that squad, that a Terminator squad or a veteran squad can get that they can't, is 1 in 5 can take like a power fist or a thunder hammer or something like that. That's the only thing they're missing. But in this edition, they're fantastic because they no longer have the limitations on who can join the squad and them still be Kinetai.
That's true. That's true. They did get that slight buff.
So you can
I'm not
still,
hating on the Kinetai. Don't get me wrong. I was hating on them in 2.0, but I'm not hating
because
on them
now
here.
you can still take your Mind Song of Blades, your Blade Weaving, and still put a librarian in there with Biomancy. Like they're gross, they're good. I like them. Um, you know, but everyone's going to have that kind of problem. Is everybody has a unit where they feel like this unit lets me down. And we forget about the times where they come in absolute clutch. Like, so me personally, like right now with my Ultramarines, I'm like, Suzerain are terrible. And then I watch somebody play them and I'm like, oh, the Suzerains are good. They're just expensive. And then I play them and they'll wreck somebody and I'll be like, okay, I'm still not going to play with them. They're good, but I'm not going to play with them. And then I start looking at the rest of my units and I'm like, I guess I'm going to take Suzerain. Because the rest of these are terrible too. Hey Gabe, what do you want? What do you want to work in 3.0? Ultramarines. Desperately, desperately want Ultramarines to work.
I could see them working. You're not gonna have the flavor that you want them to work in.
This dude said Ultramarines and flavor in the same sentence.
Exactly.
Isn't that just vanilla?
Dude, it really is. Like I sat here and made this list that I'm taking to Adepticon, and my buddy Eric was like, "Oh yeah, man," and what you plan to your list? I was like, I'm like I don't know.
You're taking vanilla, and he's taking special vanilla. He's
Yeah, like
taking the
I'm
golden vanilla.
bro, I'm pulling a Tropic Thunder. Like, what are you doing, Gabe? Survive. Like that's it, dude. Like I don't have anything else to go on. They're so plain.
Yeah.
And what's really funny is like this happens every edition. Is like everyone's like, ugh, Ultramarines. I'm like, yeah, and they're like, you don't even have anything cool. And I'm like, okay. And then like they start playing, they're like, well, I mean, you have suzerain. Let me guess, you brought 10 of them. I'm like, nah, I didn't bring you suzerain. And then I'll play something else. They'll be like, oh, that's gross. I'm like, bro, this is in your book too.
Yep.
There's nothing I'm gonna take that you can't take too. Like, not how my lists are built. So, but yeah, that's that was my take for today. Did you guys have another topic you wanted to go over? Because those are the two I wanted to get out there and talk about.
Kyle, you got anything?
No, I need to get some 3.0 3K points games in.
You want to play? You want more options?
No, I need to start. It's one thing to help Lance get ready for Acon, but it's not doing anything for me as far as my list for Alamo GT. Know what I'm saying?
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I can
I,
appreciate that.
I need to learn how my list works because if I'm about to sit here and hobby my balls off like I keep being told I'm gonna have to, I better make it worth it and actually enjoy and know how to play my army.
He's learning the struggle.
Coming from the guy who didn't paint his army, yeah, man.
Excuse me, sir. I have 5 other armies and 40K, so I've painted more than you, sir.
I remember like after I put together my first Fire Raptor, that bitch was in like every list for like 3 months.
Just because
And
how hard it was to put together.
dude, that kit sucked. And everyone just like, dude, you and this Fire Raptor, and I'm like, look, I put 10 hours of hobby time into this piece of shit. Because on the Fire Raptor, it's pretty crazy. The
Yeah.
legit kits from Forge World, you could hold up the resin pieces and see through them. They were so thin. And
Yeah,
you
I
could
went through
break
that
them on
Oh,
accident.
my
Oh
bad.
yeah. You put together a Storm Eagle, you know.
Yeah, I put that together. Still haven't had the courage to paint it because it yeah, it's brittle. Um, yeah, I should have took a. I should have listened to everything you told me to do, Gabe. Heat it up a little bit in water, take a air gun to it. I was like, nah, it's gonna be fine. Nope.
I'm not gonna say why, but this piece on my Kratos looks like it's got scoliosis.
Bro, so the
So
funny
my
thing
heat
about
gun came in today.
the funniest thing about it was like the first time like some of my guys had done some of the hybrid resin kits, like the Storm Eagle and the Fire Raptor, they're hybrid, they're half plastic, half resin. And when we first put together that Fire Raptor, they were like, hey, you're gonna want a heat gun. I'm like, why am I gonna want a heat gun? And they're like, and you really want to have it a little low temp. And I was like, okay. And one of the guys showed me a kit where he had a Fire Raptor, he turned it into terrain because when he was heating up the panel, the resin on the top is so thin, the heat gun just burned through it. And
I think I did that.
I was like, dude, for real? And he's like, yeah, dude, look, right there's the hole. And I'm like, that's battle damage. I thought you did that like as battle damage. He goes, oh, I did after I just fucking burned a hole through it. He's like, what? That's a melt a wound. It's you can't fly with those. I was like, okay, so when I put mine together and I finally understood what he's talking about with like, dude, the thinness of the panel, he wasn't kidding, dude. When I got done with that model, that was in every list I had for a couple months. I ran that bitch ragged. And I remember cracking up about it because the way I ended up doing it was I reinforced that panel. I actually rolled out thin pieces of green stuff and made like reinforcements for the panel because I was so worried I was going to accidentally poke a hole in the top of the damn flyer.
For some of my
Hmm.
custodes, me and Matt, we were trying to straighten out some of the spheres that they have. And I did at a low temp and it was working. But me, knowing me, I'm like, man, I want this to go faster. Put that shit on high. And instead of getting them to, go straight, I got them to never go straight again and just curve. I was like, ooh, I shouldn't do that. So I messed up like one or two of them.
Yeah, I remember we when we were putting together, what were they? It was one of the only times I was ever like, this is bullshit, Games Workshop. Y'all made me struggle through this shit. When my buddy got his Death Corps Krieg Cavalry, they have these lances. And we opened up the box from Forge World and I was like, why are there all these fucking brass rods? These bitches, these jive ass bitches, had the hilt of the lance and the tip of the lance, and the body was the brass rod. And I was like, no, no, no. If I have to deal with swords that need Cialis, you get to deal with spears that need Cialis. This is bullshit. Like I was so mad. And it's especially bothers you when you see it on like Primarchs. When they get too warm and the swords start to droop a little bit, and you're like, come on. But yeah, some of those kits, man, like you're not wrong, Kyle. Like once you hobby for a certain amount of time, you're like, no, we're making them work. It's happening.
The only thing that I have that I just called it quits afterwards, and I was just like, nope, nope, fuck it, not doing it, is I built 70 jackals.
Ooh.
I don't want to paint those motherfuckers. Like, after putting those all together, I wanted to. I was like, fuck, I gotta paint these. Fuck it, we're playing Heresy. Not coming back to this 40k shit.
When I did which one was it? When I did the Iron Warriors. I was about midway through that project when I was like, why the hell did I say I wanted 5 10-man tactical squads? Why the hell did I sign myself up for this?
That's exactly why I bought it from you. I was like, oh, I don't got to do that.
And it's like every shoulder pad has stripes, everything has an icon, everything has a custom helmet. I was like, why did I do this to myself? This is bullshit. And then I was like, oh, what do we need after this 50 guys of infantry? We need more infantry. Here's 20 more Havocs. Dude, that was a drag. I hated that. That was rough. But when it was done, the army looked amazing on the tabletop. It was fantastic.
That's about half the reason you're like, oh, I built this fire raptor. I had to play it. I was like, damn, Gabe painted this tormentor for me. I have to play it. I was like, I got to get this beauty out there.
That actually is one of the better tanks I've painted. That thing looks
Yeah,
gorgeous, dude.
the thing's amazing.
Well, if that's the case, then I guess we're gonna wrap Rambles today. I think this is kind of a short one.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Me on
What's
my hot takes and Gabe on his short ones.
I mean,
And
at least they're
Kyle and
not
his bullshit.
like they're. The thing is like when I start talking about stuff, like it's a coin flip, bro. You're either gonna get the version of me who's like, yeah, that's pretty good, or you're gonna get like my Gilbert Godfrey, where like I'm like, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. No one should use it. Like, oh man. Well, okay. Well, thanks for joining us again, guys. Thanks for listening till the end. As always, happy dice, happy life. Fuck Erebus, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Adios.